Ready. It's
You
been a
ready?
while, man. Ready to get back
Yes.
in it.
Yes, I apologize. Fucking going on vacation like a dick. What's wrong with me?
Who do you think
Asshole.
you are?
Fuck, man.
The,
I did not
the
sign up for
masses
this.
must be the masses must be satisfied. They're hungry for Detroit.
The droid stories must be told. Fucking dick. Anyway, sorry about that. My name is CraigMakk, and you are.
Serious
And we
Jest.
are live from the man cave. This is Ready Player 2, where two jerks drunkenly play video games. That just makes me laugh every single time I see
Yes.
that. It's so fucking
Yeah.
apropos. It's exactly what's happening right now. Um,
Yes.
this is Detroit. We are playing this through. We are fucking 28 missions into this. So as we always kind of we can cut right to the chase and say, don't be a fucking lunatic and jump right in at episode 28 for that because like it's a
Unless you're
fucking
watching it
story.
live.
Yeah, if you're watching it live,
Yeah.
that's totally
I hope
fine
you're
to jump
okay
in at
today.
28. Oh, I hope you're okay
I
today
know
too, Robot.
sometimes
Thanks
things
for
can be
talking to me.
difficult,
But the whole
I'm
thing
here
about
for
this
you.
is you can't just jump into like fucking the Battle for Winterfell and be like, this is an amazing shot. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you have to start from the beginning. So this right now, you have
You
to fucking start at the
sociopath,
beginning.
go back to episode 1.
Right, go back to the beginning. You can go watch all this shit on live. We have it on. We have it where it's all archived, so people can go
On
check it
YouTube.
out. It's on YouTube. This is going to dump on through Twitch. Obviously, we have that, but then we dump it into YouTube from there, so you can go back even if you want. We will typically the way these tend to go. So I guess the whole backstory is this is my first time playing Detroit. Jess has already played through this game before, and now he is just drunkenly heckling me in the background as I make terrible decisions and get amazing characters killed. I just fucking generally suck at games. So what we do is we ramble like this for a while before the game, then we play the game for about 35 seconds, give or take, and then we talk about it for another like 35 hours. So if you want, you don't have to sit through all of the ramblings before and after, although they're my favorite parts. But if you just want to see David Cage's ramblings, you
If you
can
find a
just
game
fast
too
forward to that
easy
part of
or
the
too
game
difficult,
and watch that game
remember,
play
you can
out,
change
and
the
then that'll help you
difficulty
catch
settings
up.
in the
And then you
options
can start
section.
jumping right into episode 28 and see the mission that we are about to go on right now. So that's pretty much the backstory, correct? Did I miss anything?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay,
no. Good to go. You want to talk
awesome.
about the beer?
That is the most important thing. How about you jump in and tell me, what are you drinking, bud?
All right. I do not think I have had this before as the beer of the show here. But I don't know. I could be mistaken. We've done so many now at this point that I don't know. But let me start reading the description. It's a limited release, and it's the man bent over his guitar, a shearsman of sorts. The day was green. They said, "You have a blue guitar. You do not play things as they are." The man replied, "Things as they are changed upon the blue guitar. What's it got to do with beer?" And then there's a number to call. That's weird. All right.
What the
Well,
fuck?
I love this brewer. I'm going to give you one
It
guess.
sounded like you
What's
just
the
had a
brewer?
stroke, dude. Is that
Hey,
Lagunitas?
who's the brewer? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Lagunitas. This one's the Citrusinensis?
Oh,
Citrusinensis? Pale
yeah,
ale?
yes, yeah. That's
Ale
awesome.
brewed. Ale brewed with natural blood orange juice. You've had this one before?
Whoa, dude, she's singing at me right now. This is the first time I've
Oh,
ever seen this
yeah.
happen.
Oh, really?
This is crazy. Is it? I wonder if this is like a thing that had to happen, maybe because like in the last mission I actually got a chance to meet her. You know, like maybe does it happen at a certain point in the story that now she's like being more like a real person? Because this is bizarre. While you were telling me that story, she just started singing "Everything Will Be Alright," and I almost started
Yeah,
crying. Holy
I'm
shit!
watching it.
Holy shit!
It's pretty cool, right? I do remember this happening for me. And again, we're not like for those of you watching, I mean, he has not accessed the story. All he did was open the application for the game. And
Right.
this is like the waiting screen, which, we've been watching her kind of evolve from just like a basic, like, hello, how are you today? To like,
Yeah.
she's been building a friendship with CraigMakk almost like this.
Yes. Yeah. Like
Over
I hope you had a good day today, and blah, blah, like we can talk. I'm here for you if you need me, and stuff like that. It's like she's slowly turned more and more human. And obviously, as I just mentioned, we also did find out one of the biggest kind of quote unquote twists to the game for me that like kind of blew my mind and was awesome when you found out that she's an actual character within the game.
Right.
This model
Which you
is
just found
actually
out in the last
yeah,
episode
in that last
when you
episode
met
I met her,
Kamsky.
yeah. Yep. So that was pretty awesome. So okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off while you were talking about your
No, no
beer. That
problem, no
was
problem.
that was just a very cool, weird moment. Anyway, okay, go for it.
So the name of the beer again is Lagunitas Citrus Sinensis Pale Ale. Have you had this one before?
I have, yes.
Oh, nice. So it's alcohol by volume, ABV, also known as also beverage value,
Yes.
7.5%. So
Nice.
it's decently strong. And let's crack this
Are
jammy
you
jam
familiar
open.
with Schrodinger's cat?
Nice citrusy, like
Until
that
you
sounded
decide what
when I
happens,
popped the top
everything
off.
is happening at
It sounded like I
once.
was opening a citrus
Like
soda.
in Detroit.
And the citrus definitely hit me. And you know what? I think I have had this on the show. I think because I remember going through this like this. That was just deja vu right there. There was like the citrus jumped out, there was a bit of a citrus smell, and then it was followed immediately by like a piney hop smell.
Yeah.
So let's see how it tastes. There is, the citrus is very, very light. It is, and I think I remember giving this exact review. I was kind of like, I was surprised how little you can taste the blood orange. This tastes like a pale ale. I can taste the hops. There's a very, very slight hint of the blood orange. So this wasn't normally when you combine like pale ales or IPAs or anything with this citrus. The trend is that you're going heavy on both flavors. So your mouth is like assaulted by like it's like having a fight with these like two extremes of like the fruity taste versus like the strong hops taste, like the piney taste.
Right.
And and I like that. I like that actually works well with me. I kind of like that, the two opposites, exploding and then like this, you kind of get all this like simultaneous taste in your mouth. This one is a lot more like this was just basically a hint of citrus in there. So I'm surprised that they named it Citrusinensis when it's like the citrus is such a small part of the beer. But
Right.
like I said, I mean, Lagunitas doesn't make shit. They make really good beer. So for a pale ale is really good, and there's a slight hint of the citrus. I think I was expecting and would have preferred more like a citrus explosion counterpointed to the pale ale, but this is good. It's still good.
Nice.
7.5%. It'll
Nice.
get you drunk.
There you go. Well done, man.
Cool. So what do you have?
Like it. So mine.
Oh,
is...
by the way, I'm
yeah.
sorry, real quick, before we switch to your beer,
Yeah.
do you, because you've had this one before, I mean, does what I said mesh with your impression of it, or did you have like a different experience with it from your memory, or?
No, that was actually pretty. You were pretty much spot on to, at least from my memory of when I had that one. That's kind of like that was the deja vu feeling that I had, was that you seemed pretty much spot on in terms of describing it. And I also thought that as I've had other beers that have that kind of a like citrus in the title, like your when you kind of go that route, I tend to expect it to be more like the citrus to be the front flavor one. And I also remember thinking that the Lagunitas one was it was more reserved than I would have expected it, based on usually when you have that in the name, you're kind of expecting like, oh man, this is just going to taste like a like a lemonade, or like like it's going to be like super citrus up front flavor, and that one I felt like I was like, oh, they actually were like they held back a little bit, which I actually liked. I thought it was good, because I think it can be bad when you get too reliant on the citrus end of things. Like when you go that far down that, I've had plenty of bad beers where I'm like, oh man, they just didn't stop. Like they just dumped the entire thing of fucking grapefruit juice in there. And so I kind of like when they're able to find that nice mark. So I think you actually described it pretty much exactly how I remember it. So that's cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
So what are you drinking?
So mine is so I just had so this one I've had before, because I actually just recently had, this past weekend, we had a like a barbecue kind of get together at the house, and so we had a bunch of family and friends come over, and so as part of that, to get ready for that, I went out and I picked up a Sixtel to have for when we were kind of just hanging outside and grilling and doing our thing. And so the one I got was this one, this beer that I have, which is a local beer. Have you ever heard of Double Nickel? Have you ever had a Double Nickel beer?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Double Nickel is a brewery that's not far. It's a Jersey brewery. It's in Pennsauken, actually. And so,
We're Pennsauken.
yeah, this one. What'd you say?
Shit is. I said I'm familiar with Pennsauken.
Yeah,
And shit.
yeah.
It's a war zone out there. It's
Yes.
like Detroit.
Yeah.
The bad areas of Detroit.
Yeah, it actually is a pretty. So their brewery is right off the highway. Like I think it's like right off 70 or something like that. Like I don't remember exactly, but that is one I have like actually driven by it for like work and stuff like that. And so or on the way to work, like I've driven by it on the highway, and it actually the brewery. I've never been to it, but the brewery looks amazing. It's like it's very cool the way it's styled, and like they have their like the double nickel, the big like sixtel like or I mean keg like cans coming outside of the building and everything. And like you can kind of see how they've used it like for artistic purposes and stuff. It's a very cool looking building. So it seems like one that if we ever did want to take a trip out, we might be interested in trying that one if we were willing to take our lives in our hands. But other than that,
I mean, if you're when you're just kind of brewery you're describing kind of goes hand in hand when neighborhoods are like up and coming or being renovated or
yeah,
whatever. Is that happening in Pennsauken now?
it is.
Because by the way, for the viewers,
yes.
for the listeners now, you may not have listeners. I've heard of Pennsauken, but I'm sure you've heard of Camden, New Jersey,
Yes.
which really gives any major like U.S. city a run for its money on crime.
Yeah.
And Pennsauken's right next to Camden, and yeah, that whole area is thorough.
They are pretty. So they're not at the same degree, obviously, or anywhere close to like a Hoboken. But it's the idea of how Hoboken used to be in the shit, right? It was a shitty area way back in the day, and then it completely kind of became an up and coming area as people started moving there who were like, well, I don't want to live in New York, but I want to be close to New York so I can go back and forth and get, whatever. And then all of a sudden it turned into this like awesome area that was right outside of like, what used to be a really like, kind of a not a great area. And then it turned that entire surrounding area over the last, what we now know over the last like 40 years or 35 years or whatever has now turned into a pretty like a desirable place to live. So I think that's kind of
except that Hoboken I don't think was ever dangerous like Pennsauken or Camden.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
it was more just like it was just shitty in terms of like it was non-desirable. It wasn't like shitty in terms of dangerous. It was just non-desirable. Right. It was just like a regular, like a city, right? It was just a nothing downtown little area. And now it is what it is. Whereas and Pennsauken is having or trying to have some of that. They're not anywhere close to having that already, but they're trying to kind of become the like, that next place that, people, and a lot of times it's driven by hipsters, right, who are like, I'm going to gentrify this area and make it cool again, right? They're the worst, but then hopefully the back end might be that they make some places like somewhat cool or like interesting, right? And so
I'll tell you when hipsters go wrong. I can bring this up right now because I just learned about this. There's like a big movement going on in New York City to have like alcohol-less bars where you just go and they serve up like mocktails or like water, and it's like all like priced at like $13, $15 for like a water or like a mocktail, no alcohol in it. It's the worst.
That sounds horrendous.
The worst.
Okay. I hate everything about these people. All right. So anyway, I don't want to talk about that anymore then because it's already annoying me. So back to the reason why I brought this up in the first place. So I went out and I got a Sixtel for this event, and this was the one I got their Double Nickel, their IPA, and so I had quite a bit of this past weekend, and enjoyed it a lot. But this one is it's an 8%
Is the name
ABV.
Double Nickel IPA?
Yep, so Double Nickel's the name of their is the brewery, and then this is just literally just called their IPA. That's it. So there's no they don't have a special name or anything for it. Like I said, 8% ABV. And their little description is, with over 2 pounds of hops per barrel, the nose and finish on this beer are dominated by notes of grapefruit, pine, and lemon. The late hop additions make it dangerously drinkable. So I have
Sounds like what I'm drinking.
Yes, it really does. It's very similar. And so this one, because I have it on tap, I obviously didn't have to open a bottle for it, but I just poured this one right now while we were talking. And this one is you get a lot of the grapefruit and the grapefruit and lemon notes up front. Like you smell that right away. Like this one actually smells more citrusy than the citrusen. What is it? Jeez, I already forgot how you pronounce it. Citrusinogenous, whatever the fuck it is.
Citrusinensis.
Yeah, citrusinensis. There you go. Citrusinensis. So this one already smells more citrusy than that one is, just right off the front taste. I mean the very first smell you get just from pouring it. And
nice.
Then the sip is, so the reason why this one is so good is because, like they said, it doesn't taste as like sessionable as like an all day IPA, but it definitely tastes like something that's like a 6.5%, something that you feel like, man, you could sit outside while you're grilling or hanging out with your friends. We were drinking some of this playing cornhole this weekend, and like it's 8%, which is by no means something that this is not a sessionable beer. 8% is definitely getting up into the higher, into the higher range, but it doesn't taste it at all. So it tastes like something. I mean, you can get a nice little buzz off this one, and it definitely has a very nice mix once you start, once you take that first drink, that first sip, you get a very nice split of the citrus and the pine, which I know we've talked a lot on this show about, like is it a piney one or is it a citrusy one? Which kind of, IPA route are you going? This one is like right down the middle. It's got like a perfect, nice mix. So depending on whichever one you're in the mood for, this one will probably give you a little bit of either end that you're looking for. And if you're looking for both, even better. I highly recommend this one. I like it a lot, and I think it's one of my favorite, higher ABV but more drinkable IPAs, for as the weather's getting nice and you want to sit outside and hang out with your friends, like I said, whatever, you're playing cornhole or you're throwing the ball around or whatever, this is perfect for that. So definitely recommend.
I got a funny story about cornhole. I don't know if I've told you this before or if I've said it on the podcast, but I didn't know what that game was. The first time I learned about it, nice. I went with Oscar Mike, who you remember from a while back, friend of the podcast here, and so we went to visit some of his friends he had that were fellow Marines. That were instructors assigned to like the Blackwater facility down right in the Outer Banks. I think it was
in the where?
So, I think it's in the Outer Banks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So there was a Blackwater facility out there. So we traveled out there, visited with them, and stayed with them for the weekend. So these guys had a boat. So we went out on the boat, and while we were out there, so we get off of land, and then like there's they're looking around. Like, I guess I didn't even know where we were going, but they had they got far out there, like, yeah, all right, I guess they got bored of like being out on the water, and they were like, all right, all right, you guys ready to play some cornhole? And I was like, what the hell? I didn't know what that was, but I was like, on a boat with a bunch of guys, and they talked about playing some cornhole, and I was like immediately looking for how far I would have to swim to land. And then it turned out it was a pretty cool game where you throw beanbags to a hole. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in retrospect, cornhole maybe not the greatest name for it. Maybe they could go with the original name of Bago, but that's okay. That's cool.
Bago.
Yeah. Bago is actually like the official company, I think. By the way, welcome to our Detroit Become Human podcast, where you come for the hard-hitting cornhole stories. Jesus Christ. Did we mention we go down rabbit holes?
I was never so happy to play a game of sticking bags in a hole.
Yes, never, ever. Why would you ever be so happy? That is the greatest moment. Jesus Christ. What has happened to us, Jess? What the fuck is happening to us?
If you like this kind of witty banter, by the way, we do a regular
What's
podcast.
Wrong with you? Why do you like this? You like it.
We do a regular. I just want to point that out. We do a regular podcast called Live from the Man Cave.
Yes, sir.
And that is on iTunes or any major podcast app, and I'll post it right here with the exact. It's Live from the Man Cave. Man Cave's all one word, and there's 3 exclamation points afterwards. But I'll post that for you, and then you go directly to our site too, www.livemancave.com. We got all kinds of projects out there. We do we do a special project too. We do a regular podcast. We just talk about all things entertainment. We do a special podcast project where we're doing a RPG, where a role playing game where we're Marvel superhero villains, and it's headed up by our friend of the podcast, Minister of Gaming, and a few other titles that are escaping me right now. But Jim Sardonic, awesome dude, and yeah,
like
so check
like,
that out.
He's like Kim Jong Un. He's got like a million different titles. He comes in, he's like owner of unicorns, and we're like, what? It's amazing. Every time he comes on the show, he's got a new nickname. I don't know. It's amazing. He's so many titles. He's got more titles than us, and we're the goddamn co-hosts.
Exactly.
Thanks, Jim. We appreciate it.
So that's that's all we have to say about that. So would
Also,
you like
by the
to
way,
get into
owner of
the
unicorns on the back of the shirt.
Yes, that's a great title.
I get that. Right.
Stick that up on the fly because that was pretty good. I was impressed.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes I amaze myself. Anyway, on that note, man. So, yep, 20 minutes in.
You started.
We have not played the game yet. So, if you really quickly want to give the recap of where we are right now. So, I brought it up on the screen while we were talking before. You guys can see, obviously, this is the the chapter that we're about to go into, chapter 28. So, Jess, do you want to go back and just kind of give the last rundown of what we did with Marcus?
Yes, Marcus is an exceptional android who we learned was gifted directly from the creator of all the androids, the Mr. Kamsky, to his previous owner, a famous artist named not Carl, right? Yeah, Carl.
Leo. Carl and Leo. Yeah, Leo's the son.
Yeah,
Carl's
Leo's the son. Yep. Right. And he was kind of groomed by Carl to be this to be an android that thinks for himself and kind of just to push past his programming. So he does become that kind of dude, and when Carl is killed, largely due to the fault of his son, and his son blames it on Marcus. Marcus is shot up by police, left for dead. Manages to piece himself back together from pieces of other robots in the junkyard where he's at, and then becomes the leader of this band of stowaway androids who are on a ship called the Jericho, and they're basically hiding out from humanity and kind of living free but confined to a ship, so not really totally free. And he starts to challenge their ideals of what free is. They invade a media tower. They end up invading a media tower, or actually first they invade their the place that houses their like important parts so that they can heal the people in the Jericho that need it. Yep. And then they
like
think
a construction
bigger,
site, right? It was like a straight up a construction construction site for the warehouse for the it was like breaking into an Apple store basically and just stealing all the parts.
Or more like the warehouse. Right. So then he so after doing that,
murdered somebody there. Holy shit! You just reminded me of that. I feel bad about that now.
Yeah. They set their sights up bigger. They take over a media tower and broadcast Marcus giving a speech, which Craig got to pick out what things were most important to him, and then after giving the speech, being broadcasted to everybody's homes, they escape all except one guy who stays behind with a pistol, which we assume uses it on himself, so he's not captured and doesn't give up information. Then the last thing that they did was they decided they were going to take a step further, and then they were going for what you said, like the Apple Store, which is the last thing they did, where they attacked one of the stores that sells the androids and freed all the androids in the area, and then adopted a logo, which really the only one that was anywhere type of cool was the fist up, and then they spray painted that everywhere, and they basically turned the plaza into like something that let everybody know, hey, we're alive, we're here, and that was the last. Oh, and then it ended with while they were fleeing, police arrived and shot up a couple androids, unnecessarily used violence on them, unarmed androids, and the police were captured.
Because I had chosen, I guess it's important to mention that I was given the option on if I wanted to use violent or non-violent protests, and so I chose to do all non-violent protests, which made the police officer's response become a little bit more obvious, right? Because the public opinion was on my side, and so it made it more egregious when they just came in and started shooting at us when we were running away, because we had gone out of our way to say we're not here to hurt you, we're just here to make ourselves be known. And then the cops are like, nah, bitch, and they just were like, pop, pop, and they just started lighting up a couple of the androids. And how many? I mean, a couple of them died, right?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like two, a couple of them, something like that.
Yep.
And then the police were captured. And they brought him before Marcus, and Marcus decided not to execute them and to let them go, repeating the phrase "an eye for an eye" and the whole world goes blind. And I think this is where we are now, and about to do the enter the chapter called the Freedom March. Yes. You've got Capitol Park highlighted right now.
Yep. So now we are up to Freedom March, and so we're going to jump back in and see what's going on with Marcus from there. So I'm going to back out and go back into continue, and we'll jump in from there. Is there anything else that we're forgetting? Oh, do you want to throw up there while we're bringing this up? We could use this to just say that we do have a Discord channel where we are in our Discord server. We go in. We have a section where we have our barcode gaming channel where we talk about this and other games that we're playing. But we have, our Watch That Shit where we talk about shows people are watching, movies people are watching. We have just a general kind of just what's up, what's on your mind channel. We have all kinds of stuff going on there. So just throwing that up right now, and you'll be able to see where you can join us. Just jump in there. And we love new people come in all the time, and we love that's a perfect place to interact with us and with other people that listen to the show. And all our friends of the show are in there. Obviously, Jim, the owner of Unicorns, is in there as well. So if you want to talk to him about where you can find one yourself, that's cool. But otherwise, let's kick it off and see what's going on with Marcus. All right. Oh man, this beer is good. Turn the sound up a little bit. Get ready. Here we go. Okay, there's always this long loading right after we get all excited, bro. Wow, this one feels like it's taking much longer to load than normal. Way to go, David Cage.
Jam-packed episode.
Oh, yeah. So much to do. Here we go. November 9th. Ooh. Wow. This is a shithole. What is this place? It's up to me already. All right. Let's read.
That looks like
magazine just fucking sitting there. Android Riot. Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to read about that later. So these, just so you guys know, obviously if you've watched, we just kind of burn through them, and then we'll catch up and read them later on, so you don't have to sit here and watch us read. All right. Put that motherfucker down. Is there anything else? What does that say up there? Enjoy some time alone. That's my mission. Nice. I like it. Oh, I can play the piano. All right. Let's do it.
That was a pretty scenic view.
That was beautiful. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, other than the fact that it looks like a shithole, it's pretty. Oh, he's playing like he does not know how to play piano. He's playing like he's 3 years old.
Is he playing chopsticks?
They're like showing that I'm supposed to control, but like I'm pounding on the button and he is not playing in time to what I'm doing. So I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Well done. All right, Marcus, stand up. You're obviously not.
Are you supposed to fuck with the pad? It looked like you were supposed to mess with like with the pad.
Yeah, that's what I was. But I was like pressing on it and moving it around, and it was like, oh, okay, they're just not gonna let me. I guess that was all I got to do was play the piano. Fuck, Vic.
Marcus is not a very good piano player.
It's terrible.
I was wondering where you were.
Oh, there she is.
That shit's pretty cool. He has no fear, just walking on the ledge.
I needed to see the daylight.
Minka Kelly.
Yeah.
I come here often.
That's Dove from Titans.
It's like being alone with the world.
I plan on watching that at some point.
So good, dude.
We freed hundreds of our people, and they're still coming from all over the city. Those who dream of freedom come to Jericho.
So he's gonna try to join us sometime soon.
Nice.
You seem preoccupied.
Ah, there he is.
They all
Proud Star, welcome.
Nice.
And that much power feels good.
Oh. What?
and scary
Oh, okay.
at the same time.
Slow your roll, Marcus.
All the media are talking about what we did last night. The humans are terrified.
Well, that's not good.
They're afraid of a civil war.
I thought they weren't terrified.
Many of our people were burned
they were
in
on my
response to
side.
what happened. The humans hate us.
It
They'll
said
never
they
give
like
us
me.
our freedom.
Well, I mean,
No, not
general
all
public
humans.
opinion,
Right.
maybe.
Some of them understand that they can't stop us from becoming free forever.
You haven't said much about yourself since you've been with us.
Also, maybe
was your
she's
life like
watching
before,
like
Jeremy?
the
Fox
other
News?
side of the public. Yeah, exactly. The Fox News. She's watching fake news.
Oh, boy.
I was living in a bubble in this world.
Fox
that belonged
News says
to me.
everybody hates us.
When you're happy, it's difficult to see other people's misery.
So
But
weird.
literally, North, the game is telling me that they like us. No, but Fox
What
News
about
Pops
says
up in the corner, North. It literally
You
says
never
there's a
told
little
me about
arrow
your
up.
past. What did you do before?
I don't want to talk about it.
North, we're fighting together.
Yes,
We
Freedom
have
March.
to know
Proud
things about
stuff.
each other to trust each other.
He wants Steve pulling it up for us so he can tell us what he did.
We all have something we want to forget. But you
Say,
need to
gotta
know
get
where
it
you
done.
come from to know who you are.
You gotta know where you go. You know who you are.
I was nothing.
she's like, I used to run guns in the Congo.
Ooh, I
Go
unlocked
on a distributor
a path
program
with
to
her.
satisfy humans.
You're saying all the right
Designed for their
things. She's
pleasure.
Damn.
trusting you.
Hell yeah.
She's a
Ninka.
companion.
One day I was with a man who rented me.
I was about to make a joke about how I just
You
unlocked
know,
her
being
path
a
with
whole-
her, and then
Always
she
the
started
contact
crying,
human.
and it made me feel bad, so I don't want to make that joke anymore.
Yeah.
I strangled him and I ran
Oh,
away.
wow, that took a dark turn, North.
There, now you know everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
I shouldn't have told you.
Damn, North. She was like, he was mean to me. So I strangled him, I ran away. I was
Wow.
like, whoa.
Well, she made it sound like it was more than
definitely a
that.
little worse than mean, yeah, I know.
She
But
was
I just did not expect.
sexdoll.
Yeah. That seems like a fucking. Whoa, shit.
I saw your memories.
This is how they get busy.
This is my lover now.
When
Boom.
they left you for dead in his studio.
We just banged.
Some
didn't we?
magnetism. Yeah.
Eden Club. The death of that
Now they're
man.
lovers off of that?
There
That's like
with
their
Yeah.
version of sex.
They just suck. They just sexed off that. That was cool. They're
North.
having a weird. They're having a weird reaction to sex, though. He obviously wasn't very good. She ran away. Oh, I really thought that was going to be the end of the mission. I was like, come on, was that just a sex mission? Why'd they call it Freedom March?
Sexual freedom.
Oh, God.
Sexuality.
Is he pissed now? Because he wants to hand sex Minka Kelly?
Isn't that the guy that they
That
left
shot in
behind?
the very beginning. Yeah, and he's also the one that we shot in the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
In the
Carter, you lied to
yeah,
me,
you
Carter.
lied for me. Oh wait, did we just hand sex? What's going on? Everyone's hand sexing. By the way, everyone's hand
So
sexing.
he
On the back
survived.
of the shirt. Yeah, on the back
We'll
of the
all
shirt.
be
About
Back
to
of the
killed.
man.
Yes.
It's not too late to change your mind.
Yes, he
Survived.
definitely survived. So that's
Dead
pretty
in
cool.
line.
We're finally gonna show them
With you now.
This place will go down in
That's
history.
pretty dope.
We'll be killed on the spot.
That's why we
That's the
just
risk
hugged
I'm
it out.
prepared to take if it means freedom for our people.
Marcus, please don't do this.
I'ma do. Oh, I'ma
They'll
do
understand.
it. I'ma do it.
We'll make them understand. This
Don't you
is
tell me
the
what to
only
do,
way.
woman, just because we had hand sex.
They're fine.
You guys did hand stuff.
Just 'cause we did some hand shit, don't mean you can
We're
tell me
androids
what
here
to
to
do,
join us.
lady.
The more we are, the stronger our message.
All right, why don't you guys welcome me? Hey, is that looks like an android? Can I convert that guy? Hey, you. Hey. Oh, no, I guess
He's
not.
like, oh, what are you doing, bro? Back off. Get all handsy.
Don't you get all hand sexy with me. Hey, what's up,
Too
son?
expensive?
You're free.
Gotcha.
That guy's like, oh, back off.
That guy was not having it at all.
I'm free. Oh.
Now they're gonna let me do it. Weird. So you can stare at my fucking Android all night? Wow.
You're free.
Did get the hand sex, that guy. Good. That's what I'm just gonna call conversion now. Is just hand sex.
Great. Hand sex. Hey, you're free. I'll spank you in the butt.
So what? You slipped and both hands landed on her tits.
Whoa. So you slipped and fell and both hands landed on her tits? Wow, that was...
You're awake.
Hand sex for you.
Yeah.
You get some hand sex.
And you get hand sex, and you get hand sex, and you... Everybody's getting hand sex. Hey, how you doing over there, lady?
You're awake.
And they listen to
Come with us.
that's the point.
Ooh.
Cyber life.
He's like, hey, but can you pick up the paint, though?
They could
She's like, nah. Not doing that no
Done
more.
with that job.
Fuck, is there anyone else? I can't tell. They're not searching well enough. Show me. Oh, does it say?
You gotta get better at hand sex.
Ah, there's an actual. Yeah, I know. I suck at this hand sex game. Hey, hey, hey! Don't you go up
Yeah,
those?
hand
Don't you
sex
go up
game
that
this
escalator?
week.
Don't you go up that escalator? Don't you? Don't! No! Damn it! Oh, we made it. All right, he's up the escalator. I think that was a person anyway. Still just wanted to try.
Hand sex? Lady, come back. Hand sex.
Come on!
She's running and you're running after her. Have some hand sex.
Wait, look how angry he looks. He looks terrifying to be hand sexing
Yeah.
people.
This is a fucking rob
He's the most
somebody.
aggressive hand sexer, yeah.
You're free now.
A man
hand
hand
sex
sex
now.
several people. He hand assaulted several people.
Whoa, oh.
You get back here!
Hey. Hey. Yeah, you just got shoved like an a-hole.
Look at that shit.
That
You
was
get
my
back
favorite.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, look, wait, is that
yeah.
the same dude?
Yeah, it looks
It's the
like
fucking
it.
guy?
Yeah, it looks like that was Kara's.
Yeah, yeah. That motherfucker just went out and got a new one. He was like, fuck it.
And
I
I
need
just
those
told him
bitches.
to go fuck off. How do I stop trying? What? Why won't you let me do something?
Stop that cab. Hand sex? Anyone?
Get
Hand
out of the
sex?
cab.
Take this hand sex.
I need to block the street.
Definitely gonna try to hand sex my wife tonight.
I
see what
need
she
to
says.
block the street with hand sex. Oh, one
I'm
hand
gonna
sex.
come in. I'm gonna grab her hand,
Hey, hon.
and she's gonna look at me and stare at her
And you're just gonna say,
intensely as that you just been hand sexed. Just been hand sexed. Does it feel? I'm not gonna say I can see all your memories.
Oh, God, gross. That's scary. Wow, man. I'm very uncomfortable
Memories.
right now. You're just going to make uncomfortable eye contact with her?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I like to make my wife wonder whether she needs to call the police.
You're free.
And on the back of the
Just
t-shirt.
keep her on her toes?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Every once in a while, I stage a fake house invasion. I come
It was just me, honey. Just kidding. Now you're on your toes.
Nice, good kick to the balls, man. That really hurts. As you know, as a fellow person married to a Puerto Rican, you know that you're playing with your life whenever you play those kind of games.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely have a knife within reach at all points. At all times.
Whoa, what? I just had a
Hand sex?
Fucking shit. Hand sex for you. Coming out of the manhole. Hand sex for you. You guys are giving her hand sex now. We're all giving hand sex. Convert more androids. Holy shit. There we go. I'm gonna convert you. I can do it long distance now, apparently, I guess.
You said you're gonna pervert them?
Wait, look at that. That's weird. Now he can mind sex them. He doesn't even have to hand sex them. He just looks at people and he can convert them. Damn, son. Oh, he's definitely turning into what's her name from
Neil?
Yeah.
Or what's her name?
From Westworld, right? Like where at
first,
yeah.
At
first she had to like speak, and then eventually she could just like think, and people would be converted.
Yeah.
Damn. This is actually very baller right now. They're like allowing you to press multiple buttons at once, so he can like scan everyone, wake them all up. Yeah, in your face, droid. Droidy. I got 70 people on my side now. Oh, we're gonna fuck some shit up right now. Let's burn this place to the ground!
The name of the character you're referencing from Westworld is Maeve Malay.
Yes,
Maeve.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna hack that.
It's played by Tandy Newton.
Yeah. Ooh, there we go. I got my little thing up on the screen. Alright, I'm doing it again.
Hand sex?
Hand sex in the screens. I'm hand sex in everything. Now it's even better that my image is the hand up in the air, because that's just the hand sex picture now.
Yeah. It's fist sex. You're fisting everyone.
Sorry, Black Panthers. Now it means hand sex. I'm sorry that we just stole your fucking thing. Yeah.
Appropriation.
Yeah, we're the fucking worst. Sexual appropriation, man. Is there anyone else?
Waving at people like Obama.
I know, he really is
Obama
like... Look at it like, what's up? You?
You? Come join our cause. Have you seen Sasha and Malia?
Oh, they're starting to get pissed.
Now people are angry. They're like, "Oh, you're taking the cop."
Oh shit! The cop is pulling a gun out. All right, hold up. This is getting crazy
shit.
now. Oh, that's cool. All right, I like it.
Jesus Christ!
How are you gonna shoot a bunch of people with their hands up? You fucking idiot!
Jesus fucking Christ!
It's happened in real life.
Yeah, true.
Dispatch, this is Patrol 457.
Unfortunately, yes.
I got a lot of androids down here.
I got a lot of androids down here. That's a great line.
Hundreds. Thousands. They're marching.
They're marching.
Yeah, they're marching down the street.
What kind of accent does this guy have? This is a terrible Detroit accent.
Fuck if I know.
They're marching. They're marching down the street. Oh, I can move. I didn't know I was still. I thought I was watching a cutscene. Damn.
It's awkward. You guys are watching him call it in.
Watching him call it in, and he's like, "I don't fuck." They were marching. Now I think they're.
Now they're just staring at me.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Marcus to start busting out some sweet Michael Jackson moves right now. The fucking Thriller. Thriller with everybody in the back of him joining in. Get to pick your chance.
This is cool, yeah. This is very cool. I like these moments where you get to choose like how you want to say it.
I want you guys to chant Libertad, 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 and somebody else screams.
Oh, the people are cheering for us. Oh, and then the cops show up like dicks. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. They pulled up their fucking SWAT shit.
are not fucking around, though. You're not gonna walk.
Oh my God, the riot! Yeah, they're like, I mean, that was cute for a minute, but fuck you!
Yeah.
All right. Fuck.
Like you're shutting it down.
Yeah. All right.
We came here to demonstrate peacefully and tell humans that we are living beings.
I did get some attention.
All we want is to live free.
This is an illegal gathering. Disperse immediately.
I just noticed Proudstar live from the manhole. That's
We're
pretty
not
funny.
looking for confrontation. We've done no
That's
harm.
good.
That's really
We have
good.
no intention of doing any.
And it was the
He
rabbit
said-
hole.
Know that we are not going anywhere until we have secured our freedom.
I repeat, this is an illegal gathering.
Yeah, what would you do if you saw an entered mob? I'm not sure, man.
We
Yeah.
will shoot.
Like on this
Marcus,
day,
they're
where it's
gonna
the first
kill
time
us.
it's ever happened, it'd probably
We
be pretty
have to
scary.
attack.
Yeah.
There's more of us. We can take them.
Fuck.
If we attack,
This is an illegal gathering.
we have
If
to
you
show
do
them we're
not
not violent.
disperse,
We should just stand our
we will
ground, even if it
fuck
means
you
dying.
up.
Dying here won't solve anything. Marcus, we need to go, now, before it's too late.
This is your last chance. Disperse immediately,
fuck.
or you will all be
Fuck.
killed.
Alright. Fuck. We are dispersing. I
Don't
want to
shoot.
keep my people alive.
Don't shoot. We're leaving.
Affirmative.
Oh, if you shoot anyway. You shoot us in the back. Oh, fuck! Run, run.
Run!
Run, 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 run! Fucking assholes. Fucking knew they were gonna shoot in the back. Oh, god damn it. Oh, I lost Jericho and North? What the fuck? What is...
Oh shit.
Wow, everyone's pissing me. Simon liked it though.
Come on, Marcus. We gotta go.
We just hand sexed. How do you get so pissed so quick?
Simon's your companion now.
Yeah. Oh,
North's
man.
like, you can let Simon give you hand sex, motherfucker. You ain't getting shit from me tonight.
Wow. All right. Wow, that was fucking crazy. Wow, a lot of fucking points and decisions on that one.
Oh wow. This played out completely different for mine.
Nice. I am excited to see how. All right. Android women are just like real women, apparently. Proudstar says. All right, nice. So this one, so now that we have gotten through 47 minutes in, we are now through the actual gameplay, and now we can kind of just dig into the walkthrough of the decisions that I made, kind of the decisions that the differences between what you did. And Proudstar in the room, he's going to jump in and tell us some of the decisions he made, whether they're different or same or whatever is what we did. And so, and this is a good way to kind of just dig deep into some of the other, the other discussions that this mission brought up, right? I mean, there's obviously some shit just went down in that mission, so that was a cool one. That was super interesting. I'm excited to see, especially since you said yours was so different than mine was. I'll pop up the world stats and. First, before we do anything else, we can real quick. Just you can see right there, 63% I completed of that whole mission. So there's a bunch of things that I obviously didn't do, but so a lot of those things were, you couldn't.
What's funny is I
everything.
actually got less than you, and I think mine lasted longer, but I got 60%.
Yeah, you got 60%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
As we go through this, we'll be able to compare. This should be interesting.
Yeah,
Should be an
that's
interesting
cool.
comparison, and then also to hear what Proudstar did.
Yep. All right, so public opinion is still supportive of me. Jericho, I'm still a leader, but I dropped with them a little bit at the end there. North, I'm still a lover, but she's still my lover, but I dropped with her. Proudstar also got 63, so cool. So we'll see if he did, similar things, or if he played it out exactly the same. Josh is neutral, so Josh had dropped a little bit with me there, but Simon bumped up to being a companion.
All right, so let me ask you this: what's your overall impression of the whole thing before we get into the weeds of it?
Of that mission?
As an episode of this mission. What's your overall impression of it?
Oh, I like that one a
Is it
lot
in your-
because that one's definitely is higher up for me because I specifically like this one is shades of the other one that I liked, which was the decision on how you wanted to peacefully or violently or non-violently, how you wanted to kind of get your message across. It's shades of that mission when I had to choose the things that I wanted to say for my speech, and those are all the moments that I've already said. Like I like those the most, where you really feel like you are determining your character and feel like you're determining the message that this guy who obviously has, I mean, he has the most important message of the game. You know, everything else is more of like they have a goal they're trying to accomplish, but his is like this kind of greater goal of like, you know, of freeing and enlightening these androids. And so you being given the opportunity to choose how you go about doing that, even if it is, you know, we've kind of talked sometime about the, what is it, like Telltale, where there's that, like, sometimes they have those illusion of choice where you feel like you're given the choice, but it really is all going to wrap back around. This game at least does a good job, at least of presenting that I feel like you're given an actual choice, and the way you know, respond, the things you say, the things you do are pretty impactful in terms of those decisions. So I like this one a lot. And that idea of walking down the street and just kind of how you're like bringing people on board, and he's kind of growing his ranks, and then choosing what you say, what your chant is, and then obviously at the end deciding how you want to handle that. I thought that was awesome. So I really like this one.
It's this one is one of the missions that gets the most criticized by people that don't like the game. And again, a lot of them being people that were like, yo, I was watching this on Twitch, and yeah, this is some bullshit. And like your brother specifically talked about this particular mission when he was saying things that didn't attract him about the game. And I think it was because of the heavy-handedness.
Yeah.
Well, the heavy-handedness to him of the march, and that being, he was like, oh, it's a straight ripoff of the civil rights movement.
And the civil rights,
right. And in a way, he's right in that this was a heavy-handed, this is a straight comparison. It's really easy to see that this was the Million Man March,
of course,
or the Martin Luther King, march. But yet, yes. But what I really liked about it is that it put you, aside from the cool thing that, like, you know, he's doing a good job, as we've said, of. There's things about, like, you know, if you're going to have a march and you're going to have this, it's important to the story. And he doesn't just say, okay, well, press this button to march and chant inspirational things. As you're going through, you're even picking what your chants were, which is cool. It keeps you involved. It makes you think about you as a leader. What are you really fighting for? What message are you trying to spread? So, yes, there is, you know, this is definitely analogous to a lot of the things that happen in real life with the civil rights movements in the United States. But what I really like is that it kind of puts you in the place of the leader, right? When I was playing this and going through, you know, like, there were decisions that you had to make, and we'll talk about them more in detail later on. There were decisions that you and I had to make in this that were really fucking tough decisions to make in a video game. Right? Like, I have these other characters that are following me, and like he said before you even took the march, right? Like, he's, you know, he was debating. He was like, "Fuck, these people follow me. Do whatever I tell them to do." You know, and I like
it's
it.
Cool,
like, there's
but
that
it's also
part
scary,
of me that likes it. Right. And then the very next scene, that's he's leading them down in a dangerous situation where now there's like police involved. Their lives are at risk, and he's, you know, and this goes back to the conversation we had last time, right? Where he's like kind of been. He has been recruiting these androids, waking them up, and then they join his ranks immediately. So he is like directly responsible for their lives. He's the guy that, you know, they were just minding their business, and he's pulling them all. You know,
It's not like he's convincing them, right? It's not like he's having an enlightening conversation, and they're like, "Hey, you make a good point. Now I want to join you." He is basically forcefully like recruiting them to his army, and then sometimes they are literally dying moments later. So they don't even know they're alive, wake up, and then die instantly. And so that's a pretty that's a heavy decision to have to make.
Right. I would say that they do make the choice to actually march with him, right? Based upon what we've seen before. It doesn't look like he mind controls them into doing it. Like, he just wakes them up, and in that instant when he grabs them, he conveys to them, look, this is the bullshit that you've been dealing with. Like, wake up, motherfucker. You're a slave. Right? You want to be free? Join my shit now. And, like, you know, in the past, we've seen him have those conversations, and now he's seeming to, as he grows in power, it looks like he's able to provide that information really, really fast. Like, his, you know, his fucking internet speed now is fucking, you know, like you said, like, he went from having to touch them to now he doesn't even have to touch them.
Right. He can just wave his hands. So, well, the one thing too, though, is, and we did mention this a little bit last time, but the one key difference is that this would be more like the Matrix if Morpheus forced you to take the pill, right?
Yes.
And so that's the key difference in this versus like the kind of Matrix Awakening, where it's like I convince you, I give you the information. Now you still get to choose if you want to go back to your own thing and go back into the into the system and not know and not care. You can choose to do that. Whereas what he's doing is he is forcing you to take the pill and then being like,
waking him up.
Right. Then he could be like, hey, if you just want to sit here and be fucking miserable now because now you're awake and know that you're alive, but choose to not follow me, you can do that. But you're probably like, who's going to do that, right? They're not going to do that because now they're like, oh shit, we need a leader. Like now I'm awake and I need to follow someone. So in some way, he is really kind of co-opting their ability to make a decision, and then he has to deal with the repercussions of when shit goes south. And as we've seen in the last few episodes, he is now starting to realize shit goes south more often than he would have originally thought, right? It's like more often than not, the humans are not just going to be like, hey, well, you guys seem like you know what you want. We're going to just go over here now. Like they're pretty much fighting back. Like they're trying to stop it. And he has to kind of come to grips with like, shit's going to go wrong and you have to deal with that. So which I think from a gameplay perspective, yes, there was an element of that made you feel like, oh, click all the buttons you can to awaken all of the androids that you possibly can, right? Because it's a game. So like you feel like I want to have more because the game is, I want the numbers to go up because it's a video game. But in reality, there is part of you that does have to think like, well, maybe I could walk by like that one. I could walk by that one and not wake it up because if shit gets crazy at the end of this block, I didn't fuck that one over. Like if I don't hit triangle, the one with the triangle over its head doesn't get, stolen into my army, and maybe I don't put them at risk. So I think it is like there is a bit of a like that. Yes, like to Proudstar's point, there is that conscience factor where you could look at it that way, and you have to look at it that way in this game. You have to take into account that you're not really giving them the choice to wake up. You're waking them up and then saying like, do what you want now. It's like running into the room in the middle of the night and being like, wake up! I don't know, whatever. Like if you want, there's a fire, but if you want to do something about it, go. All right, leave. And then you just ran out of the room, and the person's like, what? And like they don't know what's happening. It's like, well, no, if you're not going to take responsibility for what you just did, then you're kind of like pretending to be the good guy, but you're not really providing information to support that person that you just kind of, that you just woke up out of this reverie. So it's like it does put you at more responsibility after the fact, and we'll get into my decisions why I made them kind of when we get up to those sections. But I do think they did a good job in that. And getting back to your point, then I'll let you go back and finish what you were going to say. But the one thing you were saying about the march part. Yes, that is very clearly, obviously, it's an analog for the Million Man March or the Civil Rights March and all these things, and it is another kind of an example of like some of the heavy-handedness of what David Cage does. But
the March on Washington, by the way, is the correct name.
Yes, for the Civil Rights March on Washington is yes. So when you were talking about people that watch it like on Twitch, right? I do not know if my brother watched the entire game. I don't know. I remember us talking about it, and I think he probably was one of the people that like I saw clips and people talked about it. Whatever. My thing would be, this is my only real kind of comeback to that is that yes, if you just turn that part on, you're gonna be like, this is fucking hot trash. Like this is dumb. It's like yes, you're just recreating the Million Man March or the March on Washington. You're just pretending to be androids, but you're basically just doing the civil rights movement all over again. You could say this is garbage. My only issue, having played the game to this point, is like you're 28 missions in. He's established he's going to do this over and over and over and over again. If this is the one that's going to get you pissed off, like you should probably just stop playing the game. Is more like I do still think there are some things about it that I don't love, but I do think at this point I have come to grips with the things that he's going to keep doing them, and that's fine. And like the things that I don't like about it are still there, but the things that I do like about like this point in the story where I'm already invested in these characters and I care enough to see how it plays out, that was as close to like a cool epic moment of him kind of like gathering the forces of rebellion and being able to kind of choose the decision of how that went. That is only a culmination of the 27 other episodes I've played prior. If I just turned this on, I would be like, is this like a bad version of a like interactive Civil War, like civil rights movement game? Like this is terrible. But like it's because I've played everything leading up to it. I'm like, yeah, no, some of it is heavy-handed and stupid, but enough of it I care about the characters that I can overlook some of the things that I think are stupid and just kind of focus on the parts of it that I think are cool. And this one I think did more things cool than it did like heavy-handed and stupid. I've actually complained about more other missions far more than I will about this one in terms of being over the top and heavy-handed than I think this one was. Like I think this one actually, all things considered, other people have done marches before. Like that's not a thing that is like only. It's not only exclusive to the Million Man March or the Civil Rights Movement, the March on Washington. All of these things. Marches are a thing. It is the epitome of a nonviolent solution to a violent problem, right? That has been done for hundreds of years. So to say that he can never do that, to me is like the one time where I'm like, I feel like that's actually, that's pulling the rug out from him a little bit more than he deserves to have pulled out. So anyway, go back. I apologize. I didn't mean to steal that.
It's fine because you played right into like kind of what I was saying. I agree with everything you said. If you turn on Twitch to see what this game is about and you just go right to this scene, you're like, oh, well, he just basically, this is, the game, Martin Luther King Jr. the game.
Right. Oh, I would play Martin Luther King Jr. the game, by the way. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could be if done right?
Yeah.
But in context, though, there's been enough different things in this game so that he's not just taking one thing and stealing from it, but yes, he definitely recreated, well, I mean, as much as you could recreate in a game, right? The tension that it must be to really, because I was really, when I was playing through this, I was feeling so much tension. And this is just a fucking video game, but going through, I knew I was being forced to make philosophical decisions, and I knew that people were going to be affected that were following me, right? And I thought, this is hard for me to do in a video game. Imagine how fucking difficult it must have been for Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
To fucking face fire hoses and dogs and fucking, all the worst threats, fucking, just getting fucking stabbed by, by hateful white people that were watching, or getting roughed up or beaten to death by the police, tear gas, all of those things. And it's really easy in concept to say, well, I'm going to gather people, we're going to do a nonviolent protest, and we're going to march, and we're going to declare that we deserve our rights. But when you're staring these things in the face and you're the leader that's forced to be, you go in with the game plan, right? Execute the march. And then you face the actual fucking, oh, wow, these people that are following me are about to get fucked up because I'm leading them into this. And so I was actually surprised to see you say, fuck it, all right, we'll disperse. I understood why you did it. And probably now is a good time for you. Well, actually, we'll wait till we get to that part. We can, but I thought it was just really fucking cool the way that, yes, this is as analogous as it gets to real life events, but David Cage was able to recreate a good, at least a respectable amount of the tension. That it put you in the place of, realizing, these motherfucking, for a leader, this is a heavy fucking burden.
Right.
It's one of the most scary things.
Keep in mind, too, I mean, we are not that far away from people marching nonviolently for a cause and somebody just driving their car into the crowd and murdering people that way, right? It's like there's so many examples of this where just because your plan is to, we're just walking and having we're just having a nonviolent, a march to say, we want freedom, which seems to be the most basic thing that someone can do, is say, I want to, I just want to get my point across. And yes, the intent is to create tension, right? The intent, and I mean, yes, in this game it was, but I mean, the intent of a march is to create tension, because your goal is to say, we will not be overlooked anymore. We will not be hiding in the shadows anymore. You are going to have to hear us. You're going to have to see what we have to say. You're going to have to see that we exist and that we can't be just brushed aside and stepped over and all of that. And so your intent when you do that is to force the issue of somebody to have to deal with it who doesn't want to deal with it. But the counterpoint to that is that people may respond and people may push back, right? And people don't push back just by marching like alongside you saying the opposite thing, right? Like people respond by like getting, you know, violent or angry or whatever it might be. And so like throwing bottles, throwing things, like, you know, shouting mean things, saying racist stuff, whatever it might be. So like, so when you're playing this game, like there's that first moment, it actually did a good job. And Proudstar makes a good point about how like the music did. I mean, obviously music is it's integral to any of these types of scenes, right? I mean, like, why I can't watch the movie Glory without crying every single time, because as soon as the music starts, it's like what's happening on screen is rough as it is, and then they start playing that fucking music, and I'm like, I'm done. Same thing in this is like, it's a tense moment, but then they start playing that music, which is like kind of building up to it, and you're like, fuck, some shit's about to go down. But at first, remember, it's literally just them walking and him just doing the pointing and you're awake, hand sex for you, whatever. And then they start making you do the chants, right? And so you do realize, just by nature of us being like human beings and recognizing how human beings react, by adding in the chant, you're automatically knowing that you're ratcheting up the tension even more, because that's only going to get people more hyped up, right? If you're just walking down the street, yeah, well, you're making a statement just by being silent walking down the street. But all of a sudden you're like, freedom, 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 we are alive, like no more slavery, no more slavery. Now you're really forcing the issue, and like you knew at that point this was not going to end quietly, right? It was going to end loudly one way or the other. I just didn't know how, obviously, until it played out. But I thought that was a cool way for you to, you know, kind of slowly build tension till eventually, obviously, it kind of had to blow. And so we'll see what happened from there.
You want to start going through the...
Yeah, let's start looking in here and go in from the very beginning. So we had the time to reflect. And then from here, that first little group, we did the Android... God damn it. Still, again, with people not reading both fucking articles. What's wrong with you people? So Android Arson and the Eastern Space Race. And if you want, we can go look at that one later, because you're probably going to want to look through that's so early on. If you want to go through this first, and then we'll go back and you can find those articles if you want. Is that cool?
I already started looking for them.
Oh, you did?
So
okay, cool. Okay. All right.
You can start going through, and then as I find it, I'll...
All right. Sounds good. So there were the three options of things. Okay, top spot was to look at the broken mirror, because I saw there was another thing I could do, but by the time I was done playing the piano, they wouldn't let me go back to the broken mirror. They just forced me to go onto the beam. So I just did the play piano. Obviously, Proudstar was able to look at the broken mirror. So I guess it was more just like a reflection time. You know, obviously see himself. I mean, clearly a reflection, but. And then you walk out on the beam, and North arrives at that point. So this is where I had my whole moment to kind of get her down on my side. So I'd be interested to hear how you guys played this out, because I did share memories, which is 83% with her, and then I shared my past, which was 93%, and then I asked North about her past, and that's when we heard the story about her being abused and eventually murdering that guy.
So for me, by the way, for me, I did not. I just walked on the beam. I didn't play the piano or look at the broken reflection, but I did find the articles.
Okay.
By the way, I have one. I have the Eastern Space Race up
let's do it.
now.
Yep. Go. Let's stare into it.
All right. So, it's in the magazine Tech Addict. One of the little headlines. It's like another article is Android soldiers, perfect killing machines. Nice. Russia and China's androids face off. So I guess it's part of the Eastern Space Race. No, that's another article.
Yep.
That they don't actually write, but Russia and China's androids face off. And then VR MMORPG reaches 1 billion users. That's pretty cool.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, so
I would play a VR MMORPG.
Hell yeah. Who wouldn't?
Yeah,
the Eastern Space Race, Russia and China's androids face off. Also, that's what it's about. So the article says only two countries have Android industries that rival the United States, Russia and China. And they are locked in fierce competition to become the world's predominant Eastern economy, which continues to overtake the Western Hemisphere by leaps and bounds. CyberLife's almost human model of Android design complements America's service economy. Russia and China have also developed androids that reflect their national economies. After failing to emulate the blue blood model of design, Russia's Android manufacturers rely on more traditional construction methods. The resulting machines are less anthropic, but capable of operating in cold and inhospitable conditions. China's androids use an alternative blue blood fluid with less upfront power generation, but greater efficiency. The result are androids capable of operating for months without supervision or recharging in China's vast rural areas. Who is winning the new space race? With everybody going in different directions, it's too soon to tell.
Cool.
So, yeah, for me, that's like just a world building
Yes.
article.
Right.
Not much to discuss there, I don't think. But
yeah,
yep.
no, they're just
All right,
building
so
out what the androids are about, and also showing you, what's going on outside of. I mean, obviously more than just Detroit, but outside of America, that we know about all the Russia stuff, right? That's been a ongoing thing in this story, that the battle between Russia and the United States for like Antarctica to get more blue blood and all that stuff, but to see what's happening, with other countries beyond those two powers going against each other, it's just interesting to hear.
Yeah.
I would have read that
the other
VR
one I do not have
MMO one though more.
Yeah, if I had the chance to do it, definitely. I have not yet found the one that says Android Arson, but let's see, I found one that says Android Riot, but not Android Arson. So I'll keep looking, and you can keep going through the rest of the.
All right. Well, so Proudstar said he did the same three things as me, that he shared memories, shared past, and asked North about past. And obviously all three of those are binary choices. It's like you can only do one or the other. So, but my three are 83%, 93%, and 94%. So I obviously chose, in the overwhelming majority of people did as well, to do those, to do those same three. So you don't have yours up to be able to say about that, right?
I can switch over now. I don't think I'm not finding the Android Arson.
Okay.
The only thing I found was the Android Riot, but I'm not sure that that's the same thing.
It's no worries. I mean, we can. Oh, you know what? It could be maybe because you did something differently in a previous one. That could be why, right? Maybe.
I think mine.
No.
So I'm back.
It would have shown a split. I think. Maybe.
It said read Android Arson, and I just for some reason it's not saved in my extras. So.
Okay. All right. No worries. I can maybe.
So
bring it up
I
later
did not
when
play
we
the piano. I didn't look at the fracture stuff.
Right.
I just walked on the beam. The North arrived, and then I shared memories with her, hand sexed with her.
Yeah.
I shared a past with her, and I asked North about her past.
All right. So you did the same three. Perfect.
Same thing as you.
Cool. All right. So then Simon survived in Public Enemy, which you clearly did not get. I know that.
Right.
So that was a big difference, and that was kind of a cool moment. And then so we had that reunited in Jericho moment, which only 35% of people did. So obviously most people were like you, who just did that straight shot line along the bottom here to come up on the other side. So
yeah,
Simon forgives Marcus.
In the mall is my next thing.
Yep. So Proudstar did not have that one either. So I got so it says Simon forgives Marcus for leaving him. Although I don't really know, he shouldn't have forgiven me. Like, he wanted to stay. He was like, "Let me stay here."
Right.
But all right, it's all good. All right, Simon, he being a little high maintenance there, but that's okay. All right. So now we're back to the mall. So let's see what happens. So now it's free your people. So I converted the Android vendor, 67% of people. Converted the personal Android, 92%. Converted the security Android, 95%. And converted the Android cleaner, 98%. Well, for some reason, the Android vendor, a lot of people fucking left him out to dry. He's only 67%. Everyone else is in the 90s. So apparently everyone missed him, or at least, a third of the people missed him.
Yeah, weird. I don't know.
And I converted the personal Android. Now, do you guys have, what's that one down there? Either one of you guys have the second one down below? Looks like there's
let's see.
Proudstar got all four too. So next to convert security Android, there is one that I did not have.
There's convert parked Androids.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yep.
46%.
Nice. Okay, yeah. I think those were the dudes I think that were getting in the car
for the taxi, like at
the
bus
taxi.
Stop.
So I think it was like a timed, like if you didn't get to them, fast enough, I think they got in. So that probably makes sense why. So Proudstar got that one too. So you guys did that. You converted the personal Android as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
and then I was aggressive with the owner.
You were as well. Yep, 26% of people. Wow, that's cool.
Oh, so remember again though, that's 26 out of 99 that convert.
Yeah. So
other people were trying to stay nonviolent.
Yeah, most people were
so
trying
I guess
to be
like
chill.
Marcus is like, yo, when the cameras are on and the big picture thing, yeah, I don't want to be violent, but fuck this guy.
Right.
He's being a fucking prick.
So also I will say this is one of those moments where it is a bit misleading because remember the choice was just intervene.
All right.
So this makes it says be aggressive with the owner or be calm with the owner, whereas the choices were like intervene or
let it go.
Like, or let it go. And I'm like, well, that like intervene does not imply that he's like, I'm going to run over and punch the dude or whatever. Like it just means like he might even just be like, hey, leave him alone, right? So sometimes it's like the way the choice they give you in that 5 seconds doesn't necessarily always line up to the way they describe it here, but
right.
It's still fun. I mean, at least he didn't run over and like fucking throat punch him. I would have been pissed about that if their fucking intervene meant that. Okay, so prepare the march. So now we are at the convert the delivery androids. Obviously, everyone had to do that because you had to block the road with the delivery androids. Then you open the manhole, and now we're out to the march itself. So convert the worker androids. 36% of people did that. What about you?
Wait, convert the worker ones. Where's? Oh no.
It says convert android worker under start the march. There's two options. There's another one.
I did not. Yeah, I got the convert the AX400.
Oh, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds way more badass than the android worker.
I don't know. 63% of people did that one.
Damn, that sounds like a fucking Terminator. I fucked up. All right. All right, so policeman blocks the march. Yeah, he got the AX400 also. Proud star. All right, so policeman blocks the march.
I don't remember what the AX400 was. Do you remember, Proud Star?
Was that the droid maybe?
Recently?
The drone that flew above us?
Mm.
I don't remember.
Proud
Star, if you remember what the AX400 is, let us know. So convert androids, 99%. Hack screens, 73%. Chant 99%. Oh, so I guess you're right. I didn't have to chant because I could have just let the time run out and not chanted, which is.
I didn't get to hack the screens.
Oh, you didn't do that. Okay, yeah, that was cool. That was a cool little because they obviously carried back because it showed my the symbol that I had chosen, so it would have shown whatever people chose, which is cool. But that and then I raised hands.
I did the chant obviously, and then the raise. Yeah, I raised the hands as well.
That was a cool moment. I thought that everyone raising all at the same time. That looked cool. I thought.
Yeah.
As opposed to the alternative was to march forward, right? And so I chose not to. Obviously, I chose not to continue to march towards. I mean, there's one cop standing there against like 375 androids. Like, I feel like just walking towards them is probably not going to help the situation. So that seems like the only real option.
Hands up! Don't shoot.
Yeah. Now reach the plaza, so we got there, and then the police blocked the march, happened to 100% of people. So, this is cool where they show you all three options and the breakdown. So 61% of people said stand their ground. I chose to leave, which was 26% of people, and then 11% of people chose to charge. So
this is where we can talk about that. I was surprised. I stood my ground, yeah.
Okay, so...
And,
yeah, all right, go ahead.
My reasoning was this mission was... they came in knowing that their lives were at risk.
Right.
And Marcus said this needs to be done. So to me, this wasn't like oh shit, now shit is real, I'm going to back down now. Like, no, I made the fucking decision. We're risking our lives and we're just doing this.
Right.
So I stood my ground.
Right. So that makes sense. That was my. So obviously there was zero chance I was going to charge. That just seemed insane. Like I was like, this isn't fucking Braveheart. We're not going to run at them. But so I had to decide between leave and stand your ground. And in my mind,
well, what North was saying though, you would have won the charge. You would have lost some people.
Right.
But it would have actually saved more lives because.
I know. I agree. But
overwhelmed them.
So this gets back to my original thing. So now it's kind of a throwback to the one where we alluded to earlier on, the one where we broke into the warehouse and I accidentally killed that guy, and I've kind of made a pretty hard and fast rule with with Marcus. Number one, we're not violent. We're not going to kill anybody else. That's not our thing. So I've made decisions where even though I know it may not be the most beneficial in terms of to my own self-preservation, the message that my Marcus is trying to get across, that we are nonviolent, and so that you don't need to be afraid of us, right? So like, and so his thought, or at least my thought with him constantly is, North Sex is pretty funny. My thought was that the only way I could really get that message across to people that you don't have to fear us is if we don't act violently. And so by acting, any form of acting violent would just continue, because they're just going to up the ante, right? Like we just saw, we're marching on the block. They brought in riot cops. We attack the riot cops. They're going to bring in, fucking the army. It's just going to get escalated. And what does that bring to the android cause, right? At some point, yeah, we might beat the shit out of these riot cops, but like they're just going to escalate and do something else. And then where does it ever end? So the point has to be at a certain point that you say, we're doing this nonviolently to show them, at least you're the bad guys here. If you choose to get crazy, if you choose to fucking, act violently, the people will see that we were the ones that were the good guys here. And does that mean that it's, are people maybe going to die? Yes. But that is kind of the entire point of all these marches, right? That is what like nonviolent, like marches and any of these type of responses. The whole goal is to show that we will, be the better person. We will be the upside. We will be the better angels, and let you. When they go low, we go high, that whole thing, right? So that was my argument why charge was off the table completely. So now you're looking at leave and stand your ground. Then at that point, I had to look at it where I started to perceive all of the tension from that earlier kind of walk down the street, all bubbled up in my head, where I was like, okay, I want to be nonviolent, but I also have the responsibility of all these people that I just woke up 5 seconds ago and kind of co-opted and forced them into this this mission of mine that is now their mission by proxy, but not by design. And so, as the leader, and when you were talking about before, when this mission did really build up in your head this feeling of the tension of being a leader, of being in charge, of being the responsible one for all of these people kind of putting their lives in your hands. My thought was, we've made our statement. We came up, we made our, we had our march. We marched down the street. The cops came in and started yelling and said, disperse, whatever. Our mission is accomplished in that we've made our message known. We have gotten our message across that we are alive. And we've also now proven, if we disperse, we've also proven that, all right, you're going to tell us that it's illegal, that we can't be here? All right, cool, we're going to leave. We're not going to get fucking crazy. We're not going to get intense. We're not going to get violent. We're not going to be like, fuck you, no, we're allowed to be here. We're just going to leave. But we made our statement, our presence known. And so that was the one thing where I was like, standing felt like it was just being passive-aggressively antagonistic to me, or it ran the risk of being passively aggressive antagonistic, where it's like the cops are like, no, dude, go home, and you're like, yeah, no, maybe we have the better like argument to stay, but it doesn't matter. You're standing there with guns. If you're just going to open fire on us, what does that really prove? It doesn't. It just shows that we're antagonizing the police, and it's like it's not going well. That's not going to go well for anyone. So my only thing was to try to maintain my control of the situation, was to say, okay, fine, you're going to be dicks about it. We're going to leave, but everyone saw we were not assholes about it. You told us to leave, and we're leaving. Now, obviously, you also heard the moment after I said, he was like, all right, let's go. I was like, fuck, he's going to shoot us in the back, isn't he? So that's why I was like, no! I was like, they better give me an option to run, because at that point I had to choose. There were a couple other options, and like, I wasn't going to charge then, right? Like, I'm not going to run towards the guns. Like, I was like, I want to keep my people alive, so let's get the fuck out of here. Again, the mission all led up to that moment in a way that, like, actually set my, my thinking down the path where that felt like the best option. Which, if anything, I would say is good writing on, or good, not good. What's the word I'm looking for? Like good storytelling of that whole mission up to that point, to create this moment where the decision I made was not just because I hit square instead of X, right? It was because I like put thought into it and said, this is the reason why this needs to play out this way, even if it's probably not going to go well for me, but it's the best of a potentially shitty situation.
Yeah, and I guess like, so I understand on your aspect. I think my mind of thinking was, the point hasn't really been made because the media is not here in mass, and again, like, this is our if we leave now, I may save some lives of the people that are following me, but we will not have received the media attention that we were trying to establish with this march.
Right. And I hear you on that. And I actually did not think about the media part of it, which is, like I wasn't thinking about like, oh, like if we stay here long enough, like eventually, like CNN's going to show up, and that's what our goal was. At that point, I was literally just thinking like, last time I did this, last time I did this, shit went south, and I lost a couple people, and that almost led to our people murdering 2 cops. We need to, I need to just be like, all right, cool. All right, we're good. Like, and so I also looked at it like,
shows you how difficult these decisions are in real life, man.
And that's my point. Is like, so I was thinking, I was like, if Serious Jest and CraigMakk are organizing a march in today's climate, where we were organizing to go march down in like DC or something like that, and we march down, and even if we have 500 people with us, 1,000 people, whatever. We get to one. We know. Let's say we know for a fact everyone's going to listen to us on our side, right? We don't know what the fucking other people are going to do, but let's say we can assume that we know if we say, go, leave, stand your ground, run, charge, whatever, people will listen to us, right? So we know that part is, which is already not an established thing in real life, right? Because you don't know if some lunatic is like, I just came for the fun and I'm going to throw a fucking bottle at a cop and set some shit off, right? So that's already a fucking kind of false narrative, right? Yeah, the people that just get involved to be part of fucking like anarchy, right? So in this circumstance, I tried to think, I was like, if we would put ourselves in that position, and then cops straight up showed up and were like hands on their gun, maybe in like 2019 they wouldn't like all draw their guns and be standing behind riot shields, maybe, but maybe they would. I wouldn't be surprised if they were standing there with like riot gear and had hands on, like holsters or something like that, and we're like, this is an illegal meeting, get the fuck out of here, like you guys need to go home. My thought I would try to think of it like, would CraigMakk and Serious Jest be like, nah, dude, we're making a statement, we're going to stand here, or we'd be like, all these fucking people behind us are here because of us, and if we fucking choose poorly right now, these motherfuckers might just, like open fire on us. And how would I handle that? Like, how would I deal with that? Separate from like I might die, but like how would I handle if there's people's lives because I made the wrong decision? Like if I make the wrong decision to back down and then they're just shitty asshole cops and they shoot at us, well then they're just shitty asshole cops that shot at us, and there's nothing I could have done about that anyway. But if I antagonize them and then they shoot at us, like I would have to deal with that guilt of like, fuck, should I have just said, you're right, sorry officer, I'm gonna go, and then maybe I can like, put on Facebook later or live stream later, like, look at these fucking asshole cops, but like at least I wouldn't have like pushed the envelope. And so it's like, it's an interesting thing because you can approach it from either way and neither one is wrong. They're both equally viable options. I think charge is really the only one, to my point, would have been wrong, unless I guess if you had played the game differently up to this point where you were a more kind of violent insurrectionist, then yeah, if you were way more, if you were more of like a like I'm doing by any means necessary, then that would have been your only option, is like, fuck these guys, we're running at them and we're going to take as many cops out as we can. And that's also cool because you could play the game that way as well. But from the way we played it up to this point, because you and I played pretty similarly in terms of tone at least, right. But those two options are both equally viable, and it's pretty interesting still to me that your choice of stand your ground was overwhelmingly chosen, 61% versus leave was 26%. So
yeah, I think
cool
probably
moment.
Most people just thought like this is unfinished, and if I leave now, it's like
right. I haven't accomplished what I came for.
I still get your explanation though. It's, like I said, it's especially under time pressure and you're
right.
over or your quickly rising fear of what's going to happen to all these people that you're awakening when you see the threat starts to build up.
Yep,
it's tough, man. Tough decision. I thought they did a good job here of portraying that decision.
They did, and the one thing I will say, which kind of played into it, which was interesting and maybe didn't impact it wouldn't have had the same impact on you, but it was well done for me, was because, so you didn't have Simon because Simon died, right? So for me, I have Simon put his life on the line, right? Almost died, right. And then luckily survived, right? So like, I mean, we didn't know he was alive until this mission, but we had thought he was.
You didn't want to get him killed again.
Well, no, but not even that. No, think about how interesting and how well told this part of the game was that they made sure that Simon, the one that would have given up his life last time and survived, he was the one that said to me at that moment where we had to choose, he's like, cause she was like, rush him, right? North was like, fuck these guys, let's rush them. And then the other guy, I'm blanking on his name, the not Simon or North, but the other guy.
The other guy, is it not Justin, is it?
Let me go. We can go back and look because they have like a.
I'll look while you keep finish your thought.
So I was going to say they say that Josh. So Josh is like, no, we need to tell our story has to be told. Like we came here for a reason, right? So like we have to stand our ground, right? And then you have the moment where the guy who was willing to stand his ground and give up his life for you the first time is the one that says, but if we stay and they just kill us, what does it matter if our story is told if we're all dead? And so for you, that probably never even happened because he was dead. You just didn't get that. Yeah, like that storyline doesn't take place. But whereas to me, I'm thinking about, I'm like, fuck, this guy has the most insight into life and death situations out of all of us because he's the one that was willing to do this last time and has now decided like, yeah, no, I did it. And it was fine for me to do it. But are we going to do that with all these people? Like, are all of them ready to throw away their lives to make a statement? And so I was like, fuck, that's like a good – and so I didn't realize it at the time that like impacted my decision and probably wouldn't have impacted yours because you didn't see it until now that we're going back and talking about it. I'm like, oh, that's cool because that was just like a side little one-off conversation that happens only because Simon stayed alive in my story and not in yours. And I happened to – maybe I read too deep into it or maybe it just did exactly what, David Cage wanted it to do. But it was like – it was interesting because it jumped in and made me think like, oh, this motherfucker is like – he's the most like the most obvious one to speak from experience because he went through this shit and luckily came out the other side and he's the one saying, dude, it's not worth it to do to all these people. Like, so I was like, fuck, all right, let me try to get them out of here alive. So it's pretty cool.
Well, so for both of us then, what was the next step in because I think we ended up at the same place.
Yep. So police opens fire is 26% of people, it says.
Oh wait, no. So
yeah, so yours went up to the top.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So police just opened fire. I thought yours would have read the same thing as mine. Mine is police fire unprovoked. And so that's 61%.
Oh. Wait, that seems like
weird,
it's weirdly
right?
written. It should be the reverse.
Like,
it should be opening fire on you, and it should be firing unprovoked. Because we are fucking leaving the scene. Right. That actually feels like they fucked that one up. Like that's actually the first time I feel like the writing is actually... like the writing of this little flowchart is actually wrong because it doesn't make sense why unprovoked to a bunch of people that just said to the cops, fuck you, we're not leaving. Whereas the people are like, all right, cool, we'll leave. That's not unprovoked.
Yeah. All right.
It is what it is. All right. So then at that point, we were given the choice to run away, sacrifice self, or charge. I chose to run away. 24% of people did that. 20% of people said charge, and 43% of people sacrificed themselves. What did you do?
That was weird. So you said I sacrificed myself. So I guess I ran at them. I don't remember what or maybe I was.
No, because it says charge is
jumped in front of somebody.
You must have. I don't remember that being an option.
So it said 43% I sacrificed myself.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't die.
Okay. All right.
And
I was going to say, wow.
From there, my next step is police keep firing. What was yours?
Mine says some androids escape. Now, is your police keep firing going down?
Like
is police keep firing down, or is it below some
down
androids
and across?
Escape? Okay. Wow. All right. So this looks like it branches off a bunch. So we're gonna have to zoom out a little bit so we can see. So mine says some androids escape, and I got to Marcus fled, which is 24%.
And that was the end of your thing,
That was
right?
the end of mine. So yours went on long because it looks like there's a bunch more options of things that could happen.
Yeah, so mine was so yours was some androids escape, and under mine was police keep firing.
Wow.
And then so that was under some androids escape, and then that leads like down, and then immediately to the right. So and this is where it comes in the mission spare parts. I have an unlock that John joined in spare parts, so maybe that was the guy you killed.
John.
But he shows up as one of the liberated androids.
The guy I killed
sacrifices himself.
He was a cop. The guy I killed.
He was like
Or
a
like
security guard,
my
but yeah,
guy.
I think after I spared him or didn't kill him, he joined us. Oh no,
Oh.
yours was a human guy.
I thought he was a human guy we killed. Yeah, I don't think he was.
Okay, all right. So
yeah,
maybe mine was the guy that said, "Hey, take me with you."
right.
Because the guy's name is John.
Okay.
And John ends up sacrificing himself to save me after I was trying to sacrifice myself.
Yourself. Okay.
So people, the cops try to shoot me. He sacrifices himself and gets himself killed. And it says John gave his life to save Marcus, and that's how it ends. And that was 35% of people.
Wow. All right, that's crazy. So this one seems like this has. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways this one could have ended.
And let me just say that, by the way, the thoroughness and in addressing the difficulties of these decisions was fucking awesome to me in this episode, because first they made you feel bad about, first you gather the people and you go to do this march, and then they put you in the difficult position of, are you going to get some people killed, and maybe like androids that you don't know who they are, they're extras, like it's not somebody necessarily that's standing next to you, that, you know what I mean? It's not like it's North at issue or anything like that. But then they transition from that to, oh yeah, by the way, here, like now, like what it did for me was like, are you now going to put your own personal safety at risk as well?
Right.
Now so for me, I ordered everybody to march ahead, or not to march ahead, not to charge, but to stand our ground. So that was me acknowledging, I'm willing to lose some lives to accomplish our mission. But then it put me in the very direct position of, like, I had to decide whether I was willing to put Marcus in harm's way.
Right.
And me knowing how this game is, that any one of these characters could die, and it's the storyline. It was a really difficult choice to do, even more difficult, because then I was also caught with not only Marcus, losing his life, and maybe that aspect as well of, like, is that good for the group because he's the leader? Does his life need to be protected a little more? And maybe his personal thoughts of, like, does this make any sense? Me getting myself killed, and then I'm not going to get to lead these people. Where
and also theoretically, he's the only one with the skill to, like, awaken more androids, as far as we know right now, right? So, like,
maybe we discussed it. It's possible, but Kara seems to have, like, mind melded with that.
Well, dude, I guess what I mean, as far as they know right now, he's the only one that has that ability, because they don't know about Kara, so.
Yeah, and definitely not in terms of, like, with the way that he's doing it is far advanced, because he's just waving a hand and waking people up.
So there is some value to, like, keeping him alive, because they're like, well, we need him to be able to continue this, to get more people to keep more people around. So his life,
and
you have to take that very seriously.
And me as, like, like I said, like, just the fucking the guy who's witnessing this story, I was like, I really don't want to get Marcus killed and then lose out on that part of the story, like, you know what I mean? So I put his life at risk anyway, because it's based on principle, and leaders got to lead from the front, and just kind of left it up to kind of hope for the best. And Marcus was about to get murked, and this dude John that they had let join them back during the spare parts mission, he was the other guy that was like, take me with you, like, after that security guard came along, and but so he ends up, like, sacrificing his life and saving Marcus. So I felt really bad that I got him killed, but at least Marcus didn't get killed.
Right. I wonder if you had not saved John, then would Marcus have died? Like, I
don't know.
That's pretty cool if it's possible, like, if you hadn't done the right thing in the past, like, does it come to bite you, like, 5 missions, 6 missions later, where you didn't save that guy, so you sacrifice yourself and you just die? And, like, that's definitely part of this whole game, right? Is that decisions from, like, missions ago impact decisions you make now. And it's funny, I wonder now if I wish, and I just played it and I don't even remember already, but I wonder what the option for sacrifice yourself was, because the only 2 things I literally remember seeing were, like, it was like charge or run, and at my point it was like, well, we're already leaving, so, like, to turn around and charge towards the guys shooting at me didn't seem to make any sense. So I was like, the thing that actually, like, that was, so speaking of when you choose something and it doesn't play out the way you think it should, that one played out exactly the way I think it should, because it literally was, remember, I was like, oh, he's going to shoot us, isn't he? Fuck this guy, he's going to shoot us. And then when he's like, affirmative, open fire, and then I was like, oh, fuck, run! Like, I literally yelled run, and then 5 seconds later, they gave me the option where it said charge or run, and I hit run, and then he goes, run! And I was like, yeah, no, that's exactly how that should be, because right now we are in full-on, like retreat mode, right? Like, we need to get the fuck out of here and survive, and these dudes are shooting at us in our backs. So like, I need to warn everyone, like, start fucking, get the fuck out of here. So I actually wonder what the thing was, because yours was different, obviously because you were standing your ground. I wonder what the moment for sacrificing Marcus would have been for me, just because it didn't really seem like there was a circumstance where there was a person or anyone to even protect. It was more just like protect the group by saying run or charge at the group to try to throw them off or whatever. But it's pretty cool. Either way, it was interesting.
Yeah, and that was how mine ended. So
that's cool.
So I'm imagining Proudstar. How did yours end? If
he said the same way. He said same ending as me. He got the Marcus fled. Cool. So he got some androids escape and Marcus fled. By the way, do you remember, and I'm sure this is too far back to know, but do you by any chance remember what the outcome was for your, like for standing your ground? Did you like take any of the hits like I did, where like the people liked you less, or did they like you more because you did stand your ground, or were they pissed that people died, or what ended up happening?
Jericho liked me. I think I went up with Jericho.
Okay.
And then
North.
I forgot what. I think North wanted the charge, so I don't think it helped the situation.
She was pissed either way. Yeah.
And Simon wasn't a factor, so I think Josh was with me. I pleased Josh, and I kind of did not make North very happy with that.
That's cool. That's interesting. See, I like those things. The whole like the impact that it has on characters, because it definitely makes you. It adds tension when you start seeing these moments, even like let's see, Proudstar, Jericho up, nothing from North or Simon, and Josh went up as well. Okay, cool. So yeah, to me, like, I love these moments where even that moment we were like talking to North, it like adds extra tension when like every answer or every question you ask has like a response. Like, remember that one time when I was on the Connor thing where I was talking to the officer, what's his name?
Hank?
Yeah, Hank. When I was talking to Hank, and literally everything I said was just making him more pissed at me. And I was like, oh my God, no. And I was like literally standing up, like yelling at the TV, like, what the fuck, Hank? Like 5 minutes ago we were best friends, and now I said 4 things in a row that made you hate me. And I'm like, it just adds extra tension than like if you were just playing a game that was, just like a regular adventure game or RPG, where it's like, yeah, you say stuff, and maybe, yes, it has like some under the hood impact, which is the way the real world is, right? Because usually, like, you say things and you don't immediately know, like, Serious Jest does not like that, right? Like, it doesn't pop up above your head that there's an arrow that says you didn't like what I said or whatever. So more often we have to read into it. But in terms of the game, it does add that extra tension when you're like, fuck, I have 4 things I can say right now, and the last 2 things I said just pissed them off. So I really want to get this one right, because I'm trying to like get them back on my side. So it's like cool when you have those moments at the end of the mission where it kind of like recaps for you, like, all right, here's what everyone thought about your decisions. Like, yes, it's not realistic, but it's cool in that the game is kind of keeping you, abreast of the situation in a more like real, in real time, where you like immediately know, fuck, I fucked that one up. Like, I know I fucked that one up, or I did the best I could, and I kind of came out neutral or whatever it is, and you're like, that's pretty cool. So that was a good one. I enjoyed it.
That's good, because this was the one I was most worried, just because I knew it was one of the most heavily criticized. So I mean, not worried, but I was just wondering how you were going to come out on it. So I liked it as well, and it seems like we had the same reasons.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I think a big part of it is,
yeah,
I think a big part of it is because we've played far enough into it that now we kind of know what we're getting into. So I think over time you kind of know. You know what the things that are going to bother you about this game, and you know the things that you're going to enjoy. And once you can kind of come to grips with that, it makes the whole thing a lot easier to deal with, because you're like, okay, like some stuff's just going to be annoying, and that's okay. And like, I'm going to like.
I didn't find it annoying though. I don't think you did either, right? It was in this case it was appropriate.
This was the most appropriate, I think, so far. Like, I mean, it's been pretty well documented the times where I did think it was heavy-handed and poorly done sometimes, and then there's the times where I was like, it was heavy-handed, but I get it. I get what he was going for. And then this was one where I was like, it was definitely heavy-handed, but in a way that I understand what he was doing. And I think it was the most appropriate usage of that symbolism. It did not feel like it was like, he's like, you remember civil rights movement, right? Like, it was more just like, he's like, hey,
wink, wink, stomp,
right.
stomp.
Right. I mean, like, honestly, like I said before, he's probably, like, even more, he could have easily said, hey, have you turned on the news anytime in the last 2 years? Guess what? People have been marching a lot recently. Like, that's a thing that is happening. So, like, there is an understanding that is not just, a thing that is, only appropriate for that one time of, of American history. Although it's obviously the most prevalent, this story makes sense in modern terms as well. So I think it was a good one. So I enjoyed it. It was awesome. And on that note, as you were about to fall asleep, thank you very much, everybody, for coming and checking us out for Mission 28. Thank you, Proudstar, for jumping in. And yes, no, the game did never say, hey, you're an idiot. So I guess you did do okay. That's great. I like it. I like that he has such a low bar for himself. As long as the game doesn't say, Jesus, Proudstar, what an idiot. He's like, I crushed it. Jess, thank you very much, man, for doing this one with me. This is a good one. I enjoyed it.
We're into our final stretch, by the way.
Are we?
The next one's a really cool one. It's called Last Chance Connor, starring Connor. So.
Yay! That would have been weird if you said Last Chance Connor starring Kara. I'm like, wait, what? But so how many more missions do we have left?
I don't know. It depends on.
Oh yeah, you're right. I guess it depends on how the gameplay and what I missed out on or whatever. But we're definitely in the like it's somewhere in the 30s, right? Like it's somewhere in that area, I think. So we're definitely in the back end of this one.
Yeah. We're definitely getting there. We're
nice.
hitting that.
I'm excited.
We're making our final move. The light is at the end of the tunnel showing.
Nice. It's only taken us 10 months, but we'll get there eventually.
I'll be kind of sad when this is over.
I know. It's just,
I've been having a lot of fun with this one.
I know. It's going to be weird when we move into anything that's not this type of a game next. Like if we just move into let's jump online and play fucking Call of Duty as our next Ready Player 2, I'm going to be really bummed out.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's you're not. But whatever it is, that because Ready Player 2s were meant to be more like the couch co-op, and we just did this as kind of like a special experiment. This has been more podcast than gameplay, and I think that the next game that we pick is probably going to be more gameplay than podcast. So this is unique, and it'll be the end of an era, and I'll kind of miss it, and I'll have to, our conversations. I'll have to kind of look forward to the next regular podcast episode. Or our MCU episode or whatever, Yep. But I'm enjoying the fuck out of this while it lasts.
Proudstar. Next mission is long. Put your big boy pants on, Craig. I know there are some quick decisions. Fuck you, Proudstar. Why have to get in my head already? Fuck, man. Fick. All right. On that note, I'm going to have to get a good night's sleep so I can get ready for my next mission and make some fucking quick. I'm going to need some quick fingers, so I got to be ready for a lot more. I know what he's saying is that means a lot more hand sex, so I'm super excited about the hand sex that's going to happen. Next time is going to be amazing. On that note, thank you very much, guys. It's been an awesome time. Thank you, Jess. We are live from the Man Cave. This is Ready Player 2. I am CraigMakk. You are Serious Jest. And we are out.
Out of here.
Awesome.